I'm not really interested in that type of bike or the brand or something, but sometimes I put it into somebody else's hands that really loves that style.
Frank Fritz, a well-known and beloved figure in the antique world, has passed away less than a month before turning 60. The news of his death on September 30th has left his fans extremely surprised and saddened. Frank Fritz, a man with a strong passion for antiques, became famous after participating in the reality TV show American Pickers. Frank Fritz became famous thanks to this show, and in turn, he was also the one who made this show successful. In the show, Frank expressed his love for antiques and brought rich and interesting stories related to those items. Frank's journey to find precious antiques with his friend Mike Wolfe ignited a passion for America's rich history and culture. And now, fans will only see Frank Fritz through the footage of American Pickers. For Frank, this show was probably a great memory in his life, but it also brought him certain troubles, especially in terms of health and privacy when his reputation grew as the episodes were broadcast. Watch this video until the end, because it will summarize all the most important milestones in Frank Fritz's life, especially after he participated in the American Pickers program. A little bit about Frank Fritz's biography. Frank Fritz was born on October 11, 1965, in Davenport, Iowa. He grew up in a family of collectors, which greatly influenced his passion for antiques. Fritz began collecting antiques at a young age and developed this passion over time. Before entering the world of collecting, he worked in the construction industry. Fritz began his collecting career in the early 2000s. Together, he and Mike Wolfe founded a collecting company called Antique Archaeology and began appearing on the show American Pickers in 2010. The show quickly gained attention and became one of the most popular reality shows on the History Channel. Frank Fritz attracts viewers with his approachable and friendly style and engaging storytelling ability. He is not only a collector, but also a culture and history enthusiast. The stories he shares about antiques often give the audience insight into their value and significance. The beginning of the American Pickers. American Pickers is not just another reality TV show, but also a journey of cultural and historical exploration, where viewers are led into the rich world of antiques, from which they learn not only about the material value, but also about the story and deep meaning of the heritage they represent. It's an intriguing voyage into the realm of antiquities that concentrates on the skill of uncovering lost treasures. Mike Wolfe, Frank Fritz, and Danielle Cushman were in charge of the show. Danielle Cushman, the behind-the-scenes powerhouse, was instrumental in assuring the success of each decision. Her bright personality and extensive understanding of the picking industry enhanced the show's narrative. It was more than just a presentation. It was an expedition into abandoned barns, rotting attics, and dusty basements across the country in search of historically significant items of monetary value. The viewers were given a glimpse into the nostalgic world of antique picking, which is the talent of digging through antiques that others would pass over and uncovering those that have the potential to be priceless. A new interpretation of the age-old proverb, "One man's trash is another man's treasure," was the inspiration for the creation of American Pickers. However, behind the scenes, the stresses of celebrity life began to take their toll on Frank, causing him to feel increasingly pressured. The demanding and relentless filming schedule, coupled with the need to maintain a public image in the eyes of his fans, became a huge burden for him. The long, non-stop workdays, coupled with the lack of personal time, left Frank feeling stressed and exhausted. He was not only faced with the pressure of work, but also the expectations of the audience, who were constantly watching his every move. This created a growing gap between his personal and professional lives, making him feel squeezed and having difficulty maintaining a balance between the two. This stress not only affected him psychologically, but could also negatively impact his health and happiness in later years. Despite his innate desire for privacy, the pressures of reality TV thrust him into the spotlight in frequently uncomfortable ways, calling into question his moral character. How do we maintain the show's integrity and credibility while dealing with the consequences of Frank's behavior? And how will his choice to depart affect the rest of the team? Continue watching to learn more. The very real hardships of relationships, the demands of fame, and personal concerns are disguised beneath the banter and haggling that occurs on television. It was the conspicuous absence of Frank Fritz that was one of the subplots that grabbed the audience's curiosity. During the course of this film, the events and circumstances that led to this significant change in the show's narrative are investigated in depth. Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz were the program's most essential characters. Wolfe and Fritz investigate people's homes, barns, sheds, outbuildings, and other locations where they keep antiques and collections. They invite both amateur and serious collectors, hoarders, and those who have inherited large collections of artifacts that they don't know what to do with. Wolfe, who has been picking since the age of 4, is particularly interested in antique motorcycles, air-cooled Volkswagens, old bicycles, and penny farthings. Fritz likes ancient toys, oil cans, and old Hondas, but he really enjoys peanut-related products. They've bought historic billboards and commercial signage, film posters, a rare 15-gallon visible gasoline pump, and a Piaggio Ape, which a buddy says is likely the only one of its sort in North America. In December 2011, American Pickers disclosed that antique archaeology had leased a portion of a disused 1914 car factory in Nashville, which had formerly produced the Marathon automobile, for a second business location to reduce the distance required to transport their treasures from the southern states. The on-screen relationship, their knowledge of a wide range of antiques, and the excitement of the journey all kept viewers interested. On the other hand, the genuine connection that they shared was undeniably the most fascinating component. Mike and Frank were not cast as agent-created co-hosts, as many reality TV characters are. Instead, they had a bond that began in school and provided a true foundation for their interactions on television. Mike's sharp eye for jewels and enthusiastic attitude was a perfect counterpoint to Frank's more pragmatic approach, resulting in an intriguing dynamic between the two of them. Frank is fully aware of the potential profit from the antiques he and Mike discover, and this has become an important part of how he approaches his work. While Mike is often drawn to the rich history and memories attached to the items, Frank views them from a commercial perspective, always looking for valuable items that will yield the maximum profit. The combination of Frank's business acumen and Mike's passion for storytelling creates a strong appeal to audiences. Audiences not only enjoy the discovery and collecting, but also feel connected to the humorous, sometimes angry stories they share. The unexpected situations and humorous moments of working together create laughter and joy, helping to build a close connection with the audience. Thanks to this chemistry, they not only attracted the attention of the audience, but also won the support and affection of the show's fans. The natural and charming interactions between the two helped American Pickers become an indispensable show on the screen and created unforgettable memories for viewers. It gave a realistic representation of friendships in which differences in personalities and opinions do not jeopardize the connection on any level. Danielle Colby-Cushman, the force behind the scenes who ensured things ran smoothly, was part of the committee that chose the individuals. Her tasks included researching regions, contacting prospective leads, and overseeing the logistics of each pick. Danielle's vibrant attitude, tattooed appearance, and extensive knowledge of the picking industry added a new and interesting element to the event. Her duty was to serve as a liaison between the viewers and the picking world, and she frequently provided insights and background information that enriched the storyline of each episode. She was more than just a guide for Mike and Frank's adventures. She was an integral component of the American Pickers team, demonstrating the importance of study and networking in the success of any decision. Danielle's involvement was important. She was an important member of the team. The premise of the program was a refreshing diversion from the typical narratives that are seen on reality television. It integrated elements of travel, business, and history into its structure. As Mike and Frank traversed the vast American countryside, knocking on doors and sifting through mounds of what many people would regard to be junk. Each episode was an exciting experience. Nonetheless, in the midst of these mounds, they discovered stories not only about the goods, but also about the individuals who owned them. These stories painted a vivid picture of American history, from the country's industrial roots to the personal experiences of wars, economic ups and downs, and cultural changes. Additionally, as the series progressed, American Pickers did more than just entertain viewers. It also educated them and evoked recollections of a more plain past. Not only did it create feelings of nostalgia, but it also highlighted the importance of conserving history, not just in textbooks or museums, but also in daily goods that had previously held meaning in an individual's life. The speech stressed that worth includes not just monetary value, but also emotive, historical, and cultural significance. As a result, American Pickers was able to carve out a niche for itself by utilizing the optimal combination of entertaining presenters, intelligent storytelling, and the appeal of buried treasure. As a result, the show was able to turn antique hunting into primetime television with the strains of reality TV. There is a tendency for the strains of reality television, which are its beauty and allure, to cast a pall over the enormous demands and challenges that come with being continuously in the spotlight. No exclusions were made for American Pickers. As the show's success grew, it became more difficult for its stars, particularly Frank Fritz, to maintain their composure. The audience could witness Mike and Frank's funny conversation, astounding discoveries, and thrilling encounters on the surface. However, behind the precious friendship on screen are the long working days, with the tight and relentless travel schedule that Frank and Mike face. They often have to move from state to state, discovering hidden treasures in houses, shops, and flea markets, while ensuring that the filming schedule stays on track. This stress comes not only from the huge workload, but also from having to maintain a public image, which is not always easy. As the show becomes more popular, the attention from fans also increases significantly. Not only do they follow Frank and Mike's every move, but they also sometimes create unwanted moments of intrusion, from approaching for autographs to non-stop conversations. While the audience's support is valuable, this enthusiasm also makes both of them feel more pressure than ever. They have had to learn to maintain a boundary between their private lives and their celebrity, which is not always easy. The constant gaze of fans, coupled with the expectations placed on them, creates a tension that they must accept and deal with every day. It is these challenges, while unpleasant, that have shaped their stories, making them more relatable to their audiences, but also raising questions about the sustainability of their celebrity lives. The unexpected problems that Frank and Mike face on the job are not just the fame, but the sheer intensity of the filming schedule, which is a real concern. Episodes often compress days of relentless effort into just a few minutes of compelling television, making it difficult for viewers to imagine the reality of the hours they spend traveling, negotiating, and analyzing potential candidates. Each episode requires them to do extensive preparation, from researching locations to learning the history of items, not only to attract viewers, but also to ensure that each transaction is worthwhile. Intense discussions with vendors, negotiating prices, and deciding on which items to take home are all integral parts of the process, but are often not fully reflected on screen. The pressure of constantly producing new content is also a major challenge. They have to find unique items while ensuring that each episode brings high entertainment value to the audience. This often leads to them working late hours and even on weekends, while still maintaining a positive attitude and energy during filming. The truth is, their lives are not simply the exciting moments that the audience sees on screen, but a long journey full of hardships and challenges. These stresses can affect their mental and physical health, as their personal lives are affected by the relentless work schedule and lack of time for personal relationships. Certainly, while American Pickers offers many happy moments, behind the glitz and glamour are invisible efforts and sacrifices. Even though the crew's workdays began as early as 3:30 or 4 a.m., they frequently lasted 16 to 18 hours. Due to the continual nature of this routine, there was little time for personal reflection or rest. The sheer act of traveling, which required him to stay in a variety of hotels in a variety of locales practically every night, added to my tiredness. This heightened attention had an especially deep impact on Frank, who felt the effects. It appears that his intrinsic craving for isolation was directly opposed to the show's outward approach. When he attended the legendary Fry Fest in 2012, he characterized the experience as astounding. Many people are finding it more difficult to differentiate the thin line that separates public acknowledgement and personal space. Although it was obviously rewarding to receive compassion and admiration from followers, the relentless scrutiny and lack of anonymity began to take its toll on the person. Fame also highlighted smaller events. There was a close examination of every single action, choice, and error. Despite the fact that Frank was renowned for his reserved demeanor, he started to experience the symptoms of this encounter. An attempt to recover some feeling of personal space was symbolized by his absence from social media sites like Twitter and Instagram. This was done in a society where spectators and followers scrutinized and evaluated every aspect of his existence, including authority. Frank's private character appears to be based on his personality, rather than his celebrity status. According to his statements, being in the public glare is not a long-term goal for him. Ironically, a man looking for prosperity in the past found himself surrounded by interest from the present. Frank often mentioned the idea of returning to a simpler life, of simply being Frank, when the program finished. This was supported by his 25-year tenancy in the same house and his loyalty to his 1986 Ford Ranger. The pressure of fame. However, the hardships of a life in the spotlight did not only affect Frank. The entire cast of American Pickers grappled with the pitfalls of celebrity. Because of their vast fan base, they were recognizable almost everywhere, causing disruptions during shoots, unexpected encounters, and, on occasion, awkward situations. Finally, as fascinating as the reality TV paradigm may appear, it is not without its own set of demands. It's a world where the lines between personal and public are blurred, and maintaining balance becomes difficult. Fritz's experiences on American Pickers provide an honest look into the contradictions of reality television. While it provides recognition, acclaim, and the opportunity to pursue one's passion, it also comes with a cost in terms of personal space, privacy, and mental health. Frank Fritz's experience with American Pickers. The legal worries and the trajectory of celebrity are often distinguished by both the highs of success and the lows of personal difficulties. For Frank Fritz, a critical juncture in his public life was marked by legal problems. In many respects, these occurrences revealed the stress of constantly being watched over, as well as the consequences of the actions taken as a result. Traffic infractions were responsible for one of the first documented legal ruins. While traffic violations may not appear to be major worries to the average person, for someone of Frank's celebrity, they quickly became notable and a source of contention for both supporters and opponents. The breaches, which ranged from speeding to strange vehicle registrations, revealed a person who could have had as much difficulty conforming to private norms as he did with those imposed by celebrities. However, the DUI accusation became the most widely discussed aspect of Frank's court case. Unfortunately, this narrative contributed to the notion that celebrities may fall into certain traps and lead hazardous lifestyles. Frank's stated drunkenness levels were much higher than the legal limit, putting not only his life in danger, but also the lives of other drivers. Public forums featured heated debates and discussions about the tragedy. Some were disappointed, while others expressed sympathy and concern for the guy they had grown to love on American Pickers. The DUI was not an isolated incident. Rather, it set off a chain reaction that resulted in increased inquiry and exposure. Deeper allegations and stories emerged as the media dug deeper. The story that emerged was complex, depicting a man grappling with inner demons and the oppressive trappings of prosperity. The inconsistencies between the narratives that arose were especially notable. Various versions described Frank's actions and motivations in varying degrees of severity, while some said it was an isolated incident of poor judgment. Others pointed to a history of irresponsible behavior. As is often the case in these situations, the truth appeared to be buried in a cloud of conjecture, interpretation, and half-truths. Frank's legal problems. In contrast, Frank's defense focused on pity and understanding. Close supporters and his legal team worked hard to emphasize Frank's humanity and vulnerability. They discussed the difficulties he was under and how his mental and emotional health was being harmed by the constant attention. Although the DUI experience was unpleasant, they saw it more as a cry for help than anything else. Frank Fritz's legal troubles exposed a duality that occurs all too regularly in the world of celebrities. A damaged and weak individual was striving to deal with the stormy waves of fame on one side. On the other hand, there are the expectations and criticisms of a society that alternates between acclaim and disapproval. The incidents highlighted the difficulties of living in public, as well as the complex interplay between individual choices and public opinion. Relationship issues, as well as the fireworks event, revealed more about Frank's inner challenges. His life, which had always been filled with adventures and antiquities, took an unexpected turn after what became known as the fireworks episode. This experience, combined with his turbulent relationship with Diane, served as a sobering reminder that, while many antiques age wonderfully over time, human history can leave wounds that never fully heal. Frank and Diane's relationship was a patchwork of love, conflict, and periods of extreme happiness and misery. Their link was antique, full of flaws and beauty, just like the things Frank was always looking for. But there were strained undertones beneath the surface. This is the backdrop to the firework display, which began on a happy evening and turned dangerous when a firecracker was mishandled, causing significant property damage and minor injuries to those in attendance. Frank's reputation was irrevocably harmed as a result of the situation's immediate and widespread ramifications. The media began to pay close attention to the specifics of the tragedy. According to reports, the pyrotechnics were intended to illuminate the sky, but instead, they burned surrounding goods, resulting in a difficult-to-extinguish fire. People believed that Frank's irresponsibility was the basis of the problem. The fact that this occurred in front of intimate friends and family members only fueled suspicion. Diane was deeply affected by the events that occurred. Witnesses described her face of panic and astonishment as the flames sprang and danced. Their already delicate relationship became much more strained as a result of this tragedy, which resulted in numerous battles about who was to blame and charges of negligence, shrouding their once brilliant connection in darkness. Diane's situation was closely monitored during this process. First, she watched out for Frank, shielding him from the most disparaging remarks voiced. On the other hand, as the days turned into weeks, the strain grew more noticeable. Their public appearances were few and far between, and when they did go out together, the connection that had been so clear in the past was noticeably lacking. Rumors that Frank was set to end his relationship added to the story of his worsening personal life. The actual reason for Frank's arrest. Reality star. Frank Fritz appears to be accustomed to a certain level of celebrity and notoriety. Until recently, he co-hosted the history series American Pickers, in which he and partner Mike Wolfe went throughout the rural roads of the United States, hunting for unusual vintage collectibles to sell. Since its debut in 2010, Picker has been a cult favorite, and Fitz has acquired a devoted following thanks to his cheery demeanor and odd obsession with cans. Devotees were understandably bewildered and upset when Frank's appearances on the show came to an end due to a falling out with Wolfe. Fitz has recently struggled with health issues and an addictive disorder. The feud is well documented, but Fitz's problems date back even further, to his arrest in 2017. This is how the American Pickers host broke the law in the heart of Iowa. According to WQAD, Frank Fitz was arrested in 2017 for driving the wrong way down an Iowa freeway. He was charged with OWI and admitted to drinking before getting into the automobile. The American Pickers co-host eventually pleaded guilty and accepted the court's terms. This entailed Fitz paying a fine, serving a year on probation, and completing any suggested treatment, such as a substance abuse program. This, combined with a family history of alcohol drinking, prompted the reality star to seek treatment at a rehabilitation center. Frank's participation is impacted by his health. Not only did the fireworks display ignite physical fires, but it also sparked discussions on personal responsibility, the fragility of the relationships under observation, and the cost of stardom. It turned out to be a watershed moment in Frank's life, one that he was repeatedly forced to revisit and reflect on. Assuming that this incident was the sole cause of Frank and Diane's relationship, saying it was strained would be an oversimplification. However, there is little doubt that it played a part in the evolution of the relationship. It appeared that the pressure, both internal and external, was causing already existing fractures to widen and become more obvious. Within the context of Frank Fritz's entire life, the fireworks display and its aftermath serve as a sobering reminder of the fragile nature of public perception and the unpredictability of human relationships. Through the smoke and ashes of that horrible night, a story of love, tragedy, and painful lessons learned emerged. It is practically impossible to overstate the extent to which Frank's health limits his ability to participate in the efforts he is working on. Throughout each episode of American Pickers, Frank Fritz showed his exceptional eye and infectious enthusiasm for the antiques selection process. On the other hand, Frank was dealing with a personal issue behind the scenes that had a big impact on both his personal life and his performance on the program. This fight was his ongoing battle with Crohn's disease. Frank's chronic inflammatory bowel condition, sometimes known as Crohn's disease, presented him with a lot of physical and mental obstacles. Periods of remission alternate with severe flare-ups, making the illness notoriously unpredictable. Frank's high profile made dealing with this sickness all the more difficult. His weight has fluctuated throughout the years. He has been absent from some episodes, and his energy levels have gradually shifted. Fans have witnessed each of these shifts. However, the external signs of the illness were not the only thing that affected those suffering from it. Even though the Crohn's disease medicines eased some of the symptoms, Frank was nevertheless forced to deal with a number of bad side effects as a result of using them. Among these were changes in appetite, mood swings, and difficulty sleeping, all of which added another degree of complexity to an already difficult job. Frank's candor about his sickness inspired many others. He helped other persons suffering from Crohn's disease by demystifying the disease for a wider audience through his candid presentations about having the condition. He proved to be a light of hope, demonstrating that one could still pursue their hobbies with zeal and enthusiasm despite the difficulties presented by the circumstances. Frank's dedication to self-care became clearer throughout the course of the seasons. He openly discussed his many visits to the doctor, the significance of getting enough rest, and the nutritional changes he made. His major priority was to spread awareness about the need for early identification and intervention among the general community. The dynamics of the presentation were altered as a result of these changes, despite the fact that they were critical to his health. The storyline was modified from a cursory analysis of antique collecting to a more in-depth exploration of human resiliency by using contemplative interludes to break up episodes. During these interludes, Frank shared lessons learned from his travels, Frank's legacy. As time passed, Frank's friendship with his co-stars, particularly Mike Wolfe, got stronger. Mike's concern for Frank's health, as well as their infrequent lighter joking regarding Frank's condition, demonstrated the depth of their connection. Both of these things gave evidence of the friendship. Finally, in July 2021, Frank Fritz appeared and broke his silence, revealing why he was no longer a part of the show that had made him a reality TV celebrity. According to an interview with The Sun, Fritz denied leaving American Pickers. However, he stopped participating in the new set of episodes. Those two items sound similar, but they are just slightly different. Fritz can explain. He went on to say that it is up to the network whether he returns to the show and that he has not left it. Why Danielle left American Pickers? After realizing she had been placed on bed rest, the star spoke out on Instagram and Patreon about her horribly painful situation. Danielle took to Instagram to share a photo of herself in the hospital, sitting in a chair linked to a machine. The celebrity appeared to be in good spirits, despite wearing a surgical mask. She held up a Dunkin' Donuts drink while she sat for her treatment. She uploaded a lengthy blog-style entry on Patreon, revealing that she will be undergoing surgery. Danielle stated in her post that at first, it didn't seem like a major deal, and she didn't fully comprehend what her diagnosis entailed. While on bed rest, the History Channel personality promised her followers that she would do her best to keep them updated. The passing of Frank Fritz. Frank Fritz's passing has left many fans heartbroken. However, he left behind a legacy in the entertainment industry, most notably through his show American Pickers, where he and Mike Wolfe discovered and collected valuable antiques. The show not only entertained but also educated audiences about the history and value of antiques, inspiring many collectors to take up the hobby. He created a community that loved preserving cultural history, encouraging people to get involved in finding and preserving heritage. In addition to his television career, Frank was known for his friendly and passionate personality, which helped him connect deeply with his audience and build a loyal fan base. Frank Fritz will always be remembered as an icon in the world of collecting and reality television. Did you know this man who loved antiques? How did you feel when you heard the news of his passing? Even if you don't know this good man, please join us in praying for him in the comment section of the video so that his soul can go peacefully without any regrets. Thank you for watching the entire video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to watch more interesting and latest videos from us.